This morning, we are kick-starting with the health segment. We're going to have a very insightful conversation, one that will inspire you as well. We are taking it on a different tangent today, and I have friends who are going to share with us a subject matter that it's not widely known, if you ask me, in Ghana, but they have set themselves aside to advocate and proffer interventions within the African continent and largely around the world. This morning, I have been joined by my friends from the Africa Dyslexia organization, and I'm here with Barbara. I'm here with Barbara Manswa Brew and my other friend Fatih Abubakar Sadiq, whom I'm meeting for the first time. But it's such a delight to see you both. Good morning, and it's good to have you here. This morning, we're going to delve into the subject of dyslexia, and we're also going to talk about the conference that's coming up. And let's start with the overview of dyslexia. Barbara, Fatih, who's taking that? Who would like to take that?
So
Fatih.
dyslexia, it's a learning difference, or some people say learning difficulty. That is, it's a language-based disorder that affects the phonological part of the brain. So it affects reading, writing, spelling, and some organization. And the reason for that is because when you take the part of the brain, so we have our left side of the brain and then the right side of the brain. But the dyslexic learner, the part of the brain which is the left side, that's responsible for corresponding that when you see the letters, you're able to process it and say, oh, this letter makes k, C for k. It has some difficulty, so they are not able to process it as easy as we can. So that's the general thing I can say about that.
Fatih is the inclusion specialist and advocate Africa Dyslexia. What does your role entail?
So I'm an inclusion specialist based in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. So as part of my role, we support kids with additional learning needs. So, and this includes dyslexia, ADHD, kids on the autism spectrum. So we support kids within mainstream classes, and then some interventions that we provide within the classroom and sometimes outside of the class. And as part of my role as an advocate with the ADO, Africa Dyslexia Organization, is to have some of these conversations, because dyslexia or learning difficulties, as we now know, has not really gotten the attention it deserves, because we've always labeled the kids as lazy, they're not working hard enough, but now research is showing that no, there's a reason for their difficulties. So our role is to create the awareness, and globally it's going on, and we believe that it's time for the African continent and in Ghana in particular to be able to raise. So that's what we do.
Amazing. Amazing. Barbara, let me come to you. Barbara is the counselor and inclusion team member of Africa Dyslexia Organization. Share with us some of the very, should I say, profound moments in your, exercising your duty in this spectrum.
Okay, so as a counselor, I come in when you have students, parents, teachers not knowing what to do. There are times that they feel that they're giving the necessary support, but the child is not coming forth to express themselves. So that's when you have the one-on-one interaction, trying to find out what is causing their low self-esteem. There are times that their parents do not understand their child, so you need to explain to the parent this is a different learning method, and so we need to work together as a team. So trying to make sure that we understand the learner, we try to understand the parent, and also give that necessary support. Yeah.
But why didn't this come up during our time? Because I'm sure that a lot of older people of this generation who may have gone through similar experiences and may have written themselves off or looked down on themselves, not knowing the particular cause of why they do what they do, and unable to pull some weight in their academic experiment. But it's quite unfortunate. But I'm happy that the organization is doing that. But when we look at the should I say knowledge of dyslexia, do you think it is well known? In my opinion, the first day I met Rosalind, I read her profile and her bio, and I read about dyslexia. But when I met her, I wanted to find out exactly what it is. So do you think the awareness is heightened enough?
It's still work in progress, I would say. We are still creating the awareness because I've been working in the education space, and it's something that educators are trying to bridge that gap, not trying to, we are making it very intentional so that you do not label the child as lazy. You need to delve deeper into it. So something that we need to be conscious about, how we create awareness, trying to do various workshops, trying to give you the different segments, how to identify who your dyslexia learner is, how to give that necessary support. And it will take time. It will take time, but we will not give up. We'll keep pushing. That's why this conference is necessary for not only educators, but for parents, for even in the workspace. Because if you should have someone working with you for your morning segment, and you've given the person a reading assignment to do, and if the person is taking time, struggling, you rather know the indicators, so you will give the necessary support rather than someone who doesn't even know anything about it and say that you never meet deadlines, you don't do this. When it's time for you to be creative, you are good at it, but when it's time for you to put it down, it's like you don't want to do the work. So that is what.
Absolutely. So one of the misconceptions about dyslexia that we're trying to debunk is the correlation with intelligence. Like I said, it's a language-based disorder or difficulty. It has no correlation with
IQ or intelligence.
So yes, it's just affect the part of the brain that's responsible for processing the phonological aspects of the language. So somebody can be extremely intelligent and still have dyslexia, and then you can find your average person who has no dyslexia. So dyslexia doesn't make you super smart or make you dumb. So it's just the language part. And then one thing that makes it a bit, so the English, when you take just the English language, it has 26 letters, right? But then it has 44 phonemes. What does this mean? It means the combination of the different sound, the letters makes 44 different sounds. So what this means is that we need to be conscious about the way that we teach it. So if you take C, C makes K. If you take H, H makes K. But then if C and H comes together, it's Ch. Like church. But then sometimes C and H makes K, like character. So when do we use? So for some,
I love it. It's so interesting and soothing to have in. But let me ask you, what are some of the challenges you face as advocates, as a counselor, and as individuals who are part of this organization and are trying to make a difference? What are some of the challenges you face on that score?
I think one of the main one is the acceptance.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why we're creating these awareness. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, we all as parents, caregivers, we have a dream child that we all aspire to have, but then we have the baby and then different learning needs comes in. So parents, even with the parents, just accepting the fact that my child has a different way of processing his learning and then giving the support, rather than, because I know we are a highly religious community associating with witchcraft, associating with somebody
superstitious,
child. So I think the key thing is the acceptance. So once we're creating the awareness and people now accept it, it's just a different way of learning. The brain is different. Then we can now move to, okay, what can we do? So these are some of, and then
how about you, Barbara?
I think I'll also talk about comparison. So if you're an educator and you feel that for this academic year, the learners that you had in your class, your lesson notes, how you taught them in class, they got it all through. Now you have a different set of learners in class, and you have about 2 or 3 finding it difficult to process the language, and then you instead of like taking your time, so you feel that they do not want to push themselves, or probably they are being laid back, or they feel that, okay, they need to take their time to understand you. So that comparison, trying to say that I've been in this school business, or I've been teaching for so long a time, and so this particular learner, by force, I have to do it. Also getting 2 siblings, but they can never be the same. And so if you have a child and you feel that, oh, oh, my first 2 children passed through school very easy. They were doing well with their reading. They go for spelling bee. They are good at writing their essays, and I have this last one. And you might think that, oh, is it because I've pampered you too much, or is it because I didn't get that time? So we try to compare and not delve into what is actually happening to this particular child. That's also poses a challenge for us.
I'm also very happy that you brought up the intelligence aspect, because I know very intelligent people who recently I discovered are dyslexic, and it's very important that parents and guardians and caregivers should note that dyslexia has nothing to do with people's IQ or their intellect whatsoever, but it's very, very inspiring and interesting. Now let's bring it to the big event that's happening on the 13th and 14th of August this year, the Africa Dyslexia Conference 2025. Tell us about the conference.
All right, so the conference is happening on the 13th and 14th of August at Association International School. So the main aim is to create awareness. So this time the theme is shifting minds, inspiring action. So that we will have to foster the collaboration for better learning differences, support system across Africa. It will address dyslexia and related learning differences in education, the workspace, public policies, and they aim to shift perceptions. You get the point, because you might be used to one particular method, and so that is the time that we need to try and make sure that the mind, the thoughts, everything, we are changing it, and we are empowering you so that you take action in whichever space you find yourself.
That's very interesting. But if my producers could put the flyer on the screens, that would be amazing, so that we can delve into the intricacies of the show, the events that's coming up very soon. But you speak of methods, and that averts my mind to strategies, the strategies you deploy. I watched a movie, that's some years ago, an Indian movie, a Bollywood movie, about a child who was misunderstood but was very creative. In terms of his learning, he wasn't pulling weight, and I'm now trying to, connect the dots that, okay, then that is an issue and something that they were trying to communicate. And in that same movie, I learned that Disney had the same issue. And a lot of great people in our society and the world had that same issue. So what are some of the strategies you deploy? Like 1 or 2 of them. Maybe we'll start with Fatih, one in your field and one in Barbara's field.
Yeah, so just going back to one thing that Barbara said, why are we doing this conference? Because like we said, we want to create the awareness, because the interesting thing is dyslexia affects approximately 1 in 5 people. So if you were to take 5 people with this, there's a likelihood that someone will be dyslexic. So you probably know someone in your family who is, and there's a hereditary component to it. So a child that has a parent with dyslexia has more than about 50% likelihood. So if your child is diagnosed with dyslexia and you trace back, it might not be the immediate family. There could be a great-grandfather somewhere. So sometimes even for the parent, you could see the signs. Oh, I think my uncle used to experience similar thing that my son is. So this conference is just to bring together parents, teachers, caregivers, policymakers, the ministers, so that we change mindsets, like Barbara said. And for kids with dyslexia, one of the things that really helps is to be really specific and explicit in whatever you teach them. And our educational system is said that we rely so much on rote learning. But for kids with dyslexia, there's a part of the difficulty that affects their working memory. So think about working memory. It's like your short-term memory. When you ask me a question, it goes there. I have to think and then retrieve it. For the dyslexic learner, it takes a long way to get it out. And then, so when you give out the information, it's like for the average person can store about 7, let's say, information at a time. For the dyslexic, it could be 2 to 3. So when you're giving so much instructions, like the first one, exactly. So it becomes overwhelming. So for me, the key thing is that when you're giving, even at home as parents, you're telling them, go to the room, bring this, that. They're going to the room, they will probably remember the first one, but then they come back again. What was the next thing again? So to
just done that several several times. I mean, wow.
To just keep that, and then that's where Barbara's role as a school counselor even it's critical, because one of the things that we forget in all this is the invisible struggles of the dyslexic child, where the emotional parts, because most of these kids, if they're speaking to you, they are amazing. They can rattle all the speech that you want, but then when they have to put it on paper, it's not working. So sometimes, okay, if they can write it, can you have them record themselves saying it? You know, give them the options, and then,
Absolutely amazing. Barbara, you want to add something?
So I want to say that in my space, with the older students, that's when they can come to you and express themselves. This is what I'm going through. So you try and have a strategy or a plan. So you're able to have a learning plan for each individual, because mind you, two dyslexic learners can never be the same. Yeah. So probably what her challenges might be different from my challenges. So if you are lucky to have the older kids coming to you, then you have a strategy. Let's have a learning plan. How do you want to study? What should we do? How can your parents support you? How can the teacher give you the instructions that won't be so overwhelming? So with that one, we do it case by case. You are able to support the learner. The learner is not left out in the classroom space. So that is also key.
Absolutely amazing. I'm inspired this morning, and I know you are too. Many thanks for choosing us. If you just joined, this is the Good Morning Africa show on Pan-African television, and we are having some conversations on the health segment this morning. But if we could get more information on Africa Dyslexia Conference coming up, the flyer should be slapped on there so that our viewers get to see. I think TT has it. TT, if you have it, please slap it on there so that viewers get to see the speakers, the moderators that are showing up. And hey, the special guest is the Education Minister, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. He's representing, and I see Dr. Fatma Odeimat. She's also representing, she is School Director, Ryan International School, right? And there's also Mr. Desmond. I won't even go there. I won't even go there. What's his name? In Gomo. Yeah, in Gomo. I didn't do bad. In Gomo. And Rosalind is here as well. Rosalind is the Executive Director, Africa Dyslexia Organization. And okay, let me just, okay. And I see a whole lot of inspiring people. I see Ochiame Kwame and a whole lot of inspiring. So what influenced the selection of these people?
So as part of the conference, we'll be having some mini workshops. Okay. So the workshops are targeted at different stakeholders. So if you're a parent, there are workshops for you on how to support your child at home and how to even advocate for your child. Because I always say, like, a parent is the child's #1 advocate. So if the school is not giving your child the support they need, then it's time to come join us, learn about how to support your child, and then go to the school and then share that with them. We also have workshops with teachers. So these speakers will be touching on the different areas: assistive technology, universal design for learning, to teach them the practical strategies. So like we're saying, it's not enough to just say, okay, now we are aware, we accept. How do we support, you know? So this conference is targeted at all the different stakeholders to learn like practical strategies to take back to wherever they are going. So yeah, that's
we're looking forward to. I see Barbara, you know, on the bill as well, and I'm sure.
I'm not there.
You are not there. Yeah, of course. We're going to see you there. But let's just wrap it up with, you know, some facts. Would you say dyslexia is a disability? Because I'm sure while people are listening, they're asking, is it a disability?
Just like we said, it's a neurological. It has to do with the brain. So in the sense of the word disability, no, it's not a disability. It's a learning difference. Now, and one of the things that we'll be talking about the conference is the use of language, using more strength-based and positive language. So no, it's not a disability. It's just a different way that the brain processes information. So no, it's not. Yeah.
I love that you have clarified that, because once you know how we think as Africans, and I mean it's just a human phenomenon that people just will conclude that since you can't do this, then you're unable. You are disabled. So it's very important that that has been clarified. But we get insight to dyslexia and some of the strategies that can help our kids and our family who are struggling with such conditions to better find themselves and find the right way through which they can culminate into the great and amazing people that they are in the future. But thank you so much for joining us. Still, the flyer hasn't been displayed.
The registration.
Yeah, there's registration. Let's talk about that.
So you can go to africadyslexiaorganization.org and then you can do the registration there. All our social media platforms, we are on Facebook, Insta, all the social media platform. If you're not able to get to the website, you reach out through our social media, Africa Dyslexia Organization, and then we can guide you on that. So don't miss it, 13th August, 13th and 14th, Association International School. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, ladies. Yeah. Thank you. I look forward to see you. I'm going to be there. I look forward to see you, and thank you so much for dedicating yourselves to help these special sect of human beings, and also advocating and just doing the Lord's work. Thank you, and God bless you. And thank you so much for choosing us. Okay, there you have it, the Africa Dyslexia Conference, Shifting Minds, Inspiring Action. Very profound tagline there. You can see the special guests, the speakers, the moderators, the hosts, the MCs, and all the very relevant people that are going to, be present at the program.